Hey friends, welcome to the Moms in Real Estate podcast. I'm Kristen, your host, a community builder, an agent, an entrepreneur, and a mom. And this podcast is for moms that are building a business and they're building life, and we're not pretending like we have it all together. I'm so happy you're here. Let's dive into our episode. Hey ladies, welcome back to Moms in Real Estate. I'm Kristen Cantrell, your host, and this episode has been a long time coming. I feel like it's been years. I don't know if it's been years, but I feel like that. Maybe just because I've been connected to you for years. But we're going to welcome Kacia today. Hi.
I'm so excited to be here and for us to finally get to do this and hopefully add some value and fun to people that are listening in. So this is going to be great.
I know. And what's kind of cool about this is I've followed your journey before you got into real estate as an entrepreneur and a podcast host, because you have a podcast, which I was just reading your questionnaire and it's like 13 million downloads. That's insane, called Empower Her. And then you were getting into the real estate space, and that's kind of when me and you more connected on a personal level. And you were like, getting into all investing, and you've been doing that for about 3 years. And then you reached out to me when you were going to get your real estate license, and here you are.
Yeah.
And you got your real estate license in January. You just told me you have 4 million that you've closed since January.
Three closed and like 4 under contract. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is so cool. And then she just popped up and stood up. And if you're on YouTube, you can see. If you're not, if you stand up, like she's got a little baby in her belly. So it's so exciting.
30 weeks with a baby girl. Yeah.
Oh, 30 weeks was like the best when you were pregnant.
It's interesting because like we have a 2.5-year-old. I mean, I know you're doing the juggle with multiple kids, but like a 2.5-year-old and now 30 weeks pregnant with a little girl. And like, he's in this stage, our son Brody, where he like feeds her. He'll like put stuff in my belly button and he's like, she's hungry. And I'm like, this is getting really weird. Cause like, cause obviously I'm like big now enough that he understands a little bit. So this is a really fun chapter for that too. And
I love that. We have, for one, Brody just sounds like a wild boy. Like, I know, I'm like, yeah.
He's a party animal.
Yeah, and then I have a photo of my son Dean with a car on my belly. He used to like use it to like drive his.
That's so cute.
I love it.
I love it.
All right, so let's talk all about real estate. Obviously, like you having experience and you sharing on social media about your investment journey, I'm sure really helped you like catapult into this business, don't you think?
For sure. And I think I've just been really transparent about the whole journey, like leading up to it, because I started investing in real estate as an entrepreneur where everything that I was doing in my business like required me to be on. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I actually don't think that everyone has to change their whole business model and, have things like that, like that are evergreen or whatever. But I was like, what could we do where like I could take that cash, like put it into something else that doesn't require my face and voice, so that a future version of us that had kids one day could have more choices, and what would that look like? And I was just so honest about that straight out the gates, that once we started actually investing and I was just talking about it, and I had nothing to sell. Like, I wasn't selling how to invest in real estate, and I wasn't an agent or anything. I was just like, this is awesome. Why doesn't everybody buy investment properties? And then finally I was like, what do I want to do in this next chapter? So I decided to get my license in Colorado, and like, it's been really like very, very aligned for this chapter of life. So yeah. And like, you and I have been connected for this whole like journey of it all. So it's fun to be sitting here now,
Well, what's so cool, it's just such an authentic story, right? Like you said, I have nothing to sell. I'm just sharing what's going on. And, but along the way you like built credibility.
Totally.
And that's like the best thing ever is, I had a similar situation where it was like I was just building community. I didn't have anything to sell. And then all of a sudden, like, it became a business. I didn't even know that could be a business. And so it's cool when that happens because, like I said, like people watched you and they're like, oh, I like what she's doing. And now she can actually help me because she's a licensed agent. And we were talking before the podcast, such a missed opportunity. I think a lot of agents will get a little nervous when they have investment clients. It's not, I mean, you can learn all over the place about the investment space, but I definitely do feel like it's a scarier area for agents to tackle.
Yeah, I think I think a lot of it also comes from like when you have your own personal experience and you're in it, right? Like we're like, my husband and I have a portfolio where we have short-term rentals, mid-term rentals, long-term rentals. So we've been doing this for a while. So it was so easy for me to see that there was white space where, a lot of times I feel like people that are talking about investments are bros. It's like Brad from LA that like tries to make it so complicated to make it seem like you can't do it. But it's like, this is not that difficult. Like there's nuances to investing versus like a residential purchase, obviously. But I think a lot of women like sideline themselves and they're like, well, good for this person or for this man to talk about it. Because I also just really believe women should be talking more about money unapologetically. And so I think this kind of adds into that conversation where I'm like, let's talk about like buying assets that make us money, that give us options and more freedom. Like, why aren't we doing that? And so I think it's like, I'm not, even being a newer agent, I don't think that's a disadvantage. And I watch a lot of new agents, even in the brokerage that I'm at, where we predominantly sell investment properties. I'm like, being new is not a disadvantage because you actually need your clients to have success. Otherwise, like you're gone. Like you don't have a business, right? So it's like I can pour more in at the beginning versus when you have like tons and tons of clients or you get jaded by the industry or whatever. It's like there's pros and cons to everything. And I think I've just been like, what's my experience? What do I care about? And like, let's freaking go.
Hey girls, did you know Moms in Real Estate has a referral network? That's right, we do. You guys have to check it out. It's called the Moms in Real Estate Referral Network on mirereferralnetwork.com. And you can search for moms in real estate all across the United States that can be your referral partners. Make sure to check it out now.
No?
Well, ladies, that's a great reframe if you're new. Like, take that and run with it because it's I think that a lot of women will put themselves like at a disadvantage and feel all the feelings. So I think that's a great reframe for them to take.
Yeah. And I just feel like if you feel called to something, real estate, for whatever reason, like I just don't believe, and this is like my personal development, like business side of my brain, that's just like, if you're gifted a vision, you're also gifted the resourcefulness to figure out the how. So like, let's not get worried about like the tiny minutia. I remember like when I opened up the first contract and I was like, oh crap, like what does all this stuff mean? Oh no. But I'm like, wait, what my clients actually want is me to be super honest and transparent and advocate for them and like deeply care about them and put them in the best situation. Like someone else can help me with the contracts. Like that stuff gets figured out. But it's like, as women, sometimes we look at like, what do I not know? And let's make that the primary focus. It's like, well, what do you know? Or how much do you care? Or how excited are you? Or how hungry are you? And how can you leverage that to serve your clients? Because they're going to feel it, Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love that you brought that up because you come from the entrepreneur space and that's why you think like that. But a lot of people, this is like, they're coming from corporate America or they're coming from being a stay-at-home mom. And if that's you, like, listen to that advice. Be resourceful. It will be the biggest thing that you can, like, literally it will help you so much in your business. So I love that you pointed that out.
Yeah. And it's also like it's moms listening into this podcast, right? Where it's like, who would you bet on more than a mom? Moms just like get it done. And like you can handle so much more. Like you have the capacity, like you also like our boundaries it's so much easier for me as a mom with a 2.5-year-old to say no to things now than it was for me prior because I just don't have the capacity and it's so obvious to me what my priorities are because it's like talking to me,
Yeah.
And I think a lot of moms that are getting into real estate, it's like reminding yourself that too, where it's like your why is really strong and your ability to say yes and no and prioritize is such a competitive advantage that you don't have if you're not doing this juggle. I think it serves us a lot.
I completely agree. And I think that one thing I know about you because you actually have hosted events in the past that I've seen. And I think one thing for, some of our listeners to understand too is why I think you're so far, like just as a new agent, you're like, people are probably listening to you like, oh my gosh, like she's got her shit together. Well, she's put herself in the rooms to get this mindset that she has, right? So maybe talk about like the importance of investing in yourself and putting yourself in the right rooms and around the right people so that you have a mindset like you have.
Well, it's like we become a byproduct of the expectations of our peer group. So if you don't have people around you that are expecting that you're going to be successful, so you can then feed your mind to believe that you're going to be successful and then look for all of the reasons why, of course, it should work out for you. Like, why wouldn't it work out for you? Then it's really difficult to make forward progress, because there are going to be times when things aren't going to work. I just had my first deal that I lost, and I was like, this is in the bag. and then they didn't even let us counter, and I was like, is this guy, it was the first sale by owner, and I was just like, this guy just like, you need an agent to be buffering you because you're too emotional. Like, why do you have family pictures in your investment property? Beside the point. But I had this point where I was like, this really sucks. And I was like, well, I'm gonna, like, this is a skill set that I literally need to learn to approach something differently the next time so that I can be even better. And because I'm so intentional about who I'm surrounding myself with, that are other entrepreneurs or even like people that are in the real estate space, they're like, yeah, that's par for the course. Like, that doesn't mean you're not capable. That just means you're learning the things that you need to learn that are going to serve you in the future. So I'm a huge advocate of community. And it's why I started my podcast, Empower Her, at the end of 2018, was because I was really unsure of what I wanted to do next. This is before the real estate investing and agent journey. And I was like, maybe I'll just build community of other people that are just trying to figure it out, but we're really growth minded, and we'll do it together. And then I'll create containers, and it turned into 500-person events and retreats and all this speaking and all sorts of stuff, and helping lots of podcasters along the way during that journey. But we all had this common thread that was like, there are people around us that are making us feel or we're letting them make us downplay our vision, or we're letting the narrative that they have, that they're projecting onto us, become our capital T, like, truth. And that's just not serving us. And so it's like women like you that are building these communities to bring people together, like, it is the number one secret sauce, because you have to be on your own team, right? Like, you're the only person you're going to spend every single second with of every single day for the rest of your life. So like, your thoughts are the most important thing that you can do. It's all about your identity. It's not about where your leads and social media strategy and all of that stuff is like layers on the cake. But the foundation of the cake is like, do you believe that you're the person that can accomplish your goals and dreams? Well, you might not believe them because you're hearing all this chatter of like, oh, my sister, tried to be a real estate agent, or my cousin tried and it didn't work out for her. It's like, okay, well, let's go be around people that are doing the thing that you want to do and showing you that it's possible,
Yep.
It's everything.
Yeah. So who is that? Who are, like, maybe name like 2 super important people that you surround yourself with that are like feeding your brain what it needs?
I think it's not even about like a specific person that's like, oh, I want to credit this particular person. It's about the constant repetition of people that are in similar seasons of life of me that I can borrow belief from them. Like, even right now, I'm listening to Emma Greed's book while I was like doing tours in the mountains this morning. And she has a different perspective than I have on some things, but I'm like, she has 4 kids. Like, I'm about to have my second kid. That's a new transition. Like, she's building these companies. Like, if she can do this, why the hell can't I? So it's like, I'm really intentional about the season that I'm in, because we're in a transition of going from 1 to 2 kids, where I'm looking at people that have really young kids that are building their dreams, that like the person that they are in the process and are showing up for their business. It doesn't have to be real estate. Like, it's any type of business that I'm like, okay, like, what are some of the habits that they have? What are some of the stories that they are probably telling themselves? What are some of the beliefs that they have? So I feel fortunate that I have a lot of entrepreneur girlfriends, and that I get myself in lots of rooms and go to events and things like that. But I also, when I don't have the ability, like this morning, I was in the mountains, touring properties, and like there was like no Wi-Fi for half of it. So I'm not talking to someone on the phone. I'm like, who can I plug into to get me into this right headspace? So I'm just vibrating at the level that I want to vibrate. And so for the people listening into this, it's like, who is proof of what's possible for you? Because somebody has done the thing that you want to do, or the level that they've done it. So like, you have to get around them. So you're like, oh, they're such a normal person. Like, my first mentor in real estate was a guy named Steve that I met in a business mastermind that I was a part of. And he came up to me and he was like, Kacia, he was calling me like a cracked out Energizer bunny, which I really, I deeply resonate with. And we had talked about real estate, and he was like, you should be taking all this cash that you're making from your business and investing it into real estate. And I had already kind of had that in the back of my mind, but I was telling myself the story of like, oh, like, I don't know about investing, and like, we live in an apartment. What am I going to do? But he was so normal, and he had a $50 million portfolio in real estate. And I was like, this guy is like the most normal, down to earth person, and he has a ton of assets, and he's done this. If he's figured this out, I'm sure I can figure it out too. But when you don't have proximity to people like that, and you don't choose to get yourself in rooms, you think you're the only one that's like, it's not possible for me, you know?
Well, what's so crazy, I was just at a retreat this weekend, and we talked all about like the hierarchy that we place when it's so not even like, it's just this thing that we've done. I mean, I've done it since I was little, right? Like that person's so successful, they're above me. This person has so much money, they're above me, whatever it is. And I mean, I can literally think back to like being in probably elementary or junior high when that started. And so we were talking about that, and it was a big like eye opener for me that I still do that. So when you actually like, even though I'm literally in masterminds with people of all different success, and what I've always thought about is like success looks so different, and so many, like money's one element of it.
Yes.
That might be really easy for, someone, but then all of a sudden it's like community and connection so easy for me. So my success is in this lane where her success might be in this one, and then somebody else might have it figured out in parenting or marriage or whatever. So what I've always like tried to do is like look at the whole person.
Yes.
And like what areas are you missing in your life where it's like, I don't have anyone that has a good marriage around me right now, right? And like seeking those people out, because really when you start to like be intentional with that, that's when like all of a sudden like you're not just like, oh, I'm so successful when it comes to business. Like, no, all of a sudden, like you start being like you're saying, like vibrating at a higher place, because I'm with people that are good at all the shit.
Yeah. And I mean, my first business mentor is someone who I love and is a great friend of mine, but he and his wife don't have kids, and they're not going to have kids. So I had to be really conscious that like I was getting his advice at a season in my business where I was like, what you're telling me does not work with the amount of sleep I'm getting. Like this does not equate, right? Or like how I need to show up to that human, or how I want to, I guess. So it's like what you just said of like holistically, even looking at like, you're only seeing a sliver, right? When you're comparing yourself to somebody else's like carefully curated highlight reel on Instagram, like it's such a slippery slope, because it's like what actually matters to you. And like for me, like I don't feel like I'm successful if I don't have a positive narrative in my head. I don't feel like I'm successful if like my marriage isn't going, like I'm going to pour into my marriage before I'm going to pour into my business. And like not everyone has to agree with that, but like that's what I care about. And so I think it's like we all get to pick what that looks like, and just be careful that we're not like taking a page out of somebody's book when we're not like holistically looking at like they just have a different life circumstance, and success looks so different. Like, I mean, you get this, Kristen, with multiple kids, but like I have 10 weeks until I have another baby. So it's like even like as I start to get tired and just like physically bigger, I'm like, okay, the way at which I can show up now versus even 2 weeks ago, or sometimes on a day-to-day basis, is so much like, do I need to take a nap, or do I need to like burn my business down? I'm like, I probably just need a nap. And I have to be really cautious of my own capacity. And all of us have, even without pregnancy, it's like we all have different situations. Like if your significant other is going through something really tough right now in their life, or you have a parent that's sick, or something that's like just straining your capacity, like we need to reassess our goals too in that temporary season, so we can be on our own team. And when you're in community, to kind of tie this back, because I'm going a little tangent here, it's like, great. But when you're in community, it's like you have other people that are like, this is what I'm going through, and this is what it's like. And it's one thing to show up and be in the rooms, but like be honest when you're in them. Like the relationships that I've built is when I'm like, I have no idea what the F I'm doing, and I feel like I'm going to take a fork and shove it in my eyeball. Help me. Not like, hello, I'm Kacia, and I have X amount of downloads on my podcast and this amount of portfolio. People are like, who's that girl, you know?
You're just operating from like such a brain space. And it's like, no, if you want true connection, you've got to like operate, that high vibe, your higher self. And you know what's crazy too is like, I spent all of my 30s in fight or flight. I turned 40 in a month, less than a month. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I look back and I'm like, I'm so excited for my 40s, because 30s were fight or flight, building my businesses, stressed out, going through health issues, not paying attention to my marriage because I had young kids. Like there's so many things. Now I'm like, I'm like deep in self work, and I'm just like so happy because I'm like, this is like everything I have like foundationally in my life right now is literally going to make my 40s like the best decade ever. So I
Yeah.
think too, like anyone that's listening to this and maybe they're like newer or they're burnt out and they're in the real estate, like, oh my gosh, like I just can't keep up. I see this all the time in Moms in Real Estate. We have 43,000 of you guys, and it's literally the most common thing is just the burnout. I can't figure out, like, I can't figure out the balance, and it's just all this stuff. So you have got to, like you're saying, like you've got to listen to your body and realize what season you're in, and you need to figure it out because it sucks when you go down. Like it really does.
Yeah, for sure. And it like other people, because it's so interesting, especially as women, it's like we're so willing to do things for other people and often not for ourselves. But when you burn yourself out because you didn't take care of yourself, everybody around you is impacted in a negative way. Versus like think about like when we're pouring into ourselves and we feel good and we're making time for our girlfriends or for our health and like setting goals that make sense for the season of life that we're in. Like we're just vibrating and energetically at such a different level that everybody benefits as a byproduct. Like I'm so much better of like I'm so much more fun to be around as a wife when I'm like doing things in my business that I like and when I'm getting my workout in, right? Like I'm just like so much more enjoyable. So it's like that has to be on my to-do list. And if
Yeah.
something else has to drop, then F it. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. F it for sure.
Tell me if this is you. You're between a showing and school pickup, and you realize you haven't posted on Instagram in 2 weeks. You want to show up online. You've heard it can work, but between the kids, the clients, and everything else, content is always the thing that falls off the list. But when it's working, DMs start flooding in from people saying, I want to work with you. Take it from Elena, a busy mom who sold 8 million from Instagram in 1 year, Katie, who hit 3.5 million in 6 months as a brand new agent, and Lauren, who sold 5 million from Instagram just after 1 year. They all lean on Coffee and Contracts, a marketing membership that gives you the content, the strategy, and a weekly content plan so you never have to figure out what to post. That's the difference between wasting time on leads who ghost and attracting your people even when you're offline. Moms and Real Estate listeners can try a free week of Coffee and Contracts content. Head to the show notes, click the link, and if you love it, use code MIRE for $20 off your membership.
Well, let's talk about this 4 million since January, because I know that the girls are like, okay, tell me, like, where did it come from?
Yeah. So one of the things that I think has worked really well for me, partially is obviously like I shared my story prior, and I think that's been really helpful. I've always had this brand since I started my podcast in 2018 that was very like, come with me, let's figure out life together. This is what I'm doing. Maybe you'd like it too. That's always been the vibe. So that for sure has helped. But the other thing that I think could be more tactical for people that aren't doing don't have the brand credibility yet is when I get on a call with someone, I'm just telling them how it's going to go. I was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to determine what your buy box is. I'm going to connect you to this lender, and you're going to set up a call with her. You're going to let me know when that call is. As soon as you do, then we're going to get on another call. And like how we do this with investments, like half of my clients are out-of-state clients. So I'm like, we're going to get on a Zoom call. I'm going to show you actual properties and the projections of what this looks like. And then we're going to make a decision, and this is how we're going to move forward. Like, it's almost like I'm just like, here's the whole script, because I realize I feel so good when someone just tells me what to do, because otherwise you get these people that are like setting these arbitrary timelines of like, I'm going to buy in spring, or like when interest rates go down, or I'm going to buy when my kids go back to school. And I'm like, well, what are you doing the next 6 months? You know? Yeah. And so I think it's like when we come in with the confidence and we map out, even if you're brand new, because again, this is coming from someone at the time that we're recording this that's 3 months into being an agent. We're like, every single call I get on or coffee meeting or whatever that I'm doing, I'm like, this is the plan. And this is how it's going to work for you. And I'm getting really intentional about understanding like what is holding them back from, for me, getting in the investment space, since that's what I'm selling is investment properties. But I think everybody has a block, and it's like a lot of investors, they think you have to have 20% down, for example. A lot of primary home buyers think you have to have 20%. It's like something that's so like, or they don't think they're going to get qualified for as much. And I'm like, hey, I've had people that get qualified for way more than they thought they were going to get qualified for, you know? So part of it is that. And then I also think I'm really unapologetic about what I'm doing, because it might not be the person that you're talking to in the school pickup line or at the coffee shop, but she might have a best friend who's looking to buy a house or investment property. And she needs to know that you're doing that. And I think a lot of times we shy away from like saying what it is that we're doing. Like, especially women, unfortunately, it's like, I don't want to bug them. My husband tells everybody about his startup. Like, he's so unapologetic, and I am too. I actually think he gets that a little bit from me. But I feel like as women, often we're like, oh, I don't want to like seem like I'm bragging, or I don't want to seem like I'm being salesy. It's like, if you like what you're doing, they're going to go work with a jabroni. Anyone that's been in the game for even a month, there are so many dodo bird agents out there, and you're not. Right? Like, you actually care. So they need to know that you do this. Otherwise, you're robbing them, and they have to go down with like Billy Bob, who's just an absolute idiot. And you're like, oh, I just talked to one today where I was like, they need to make it harder to get your license. Like, how did you get your license?
Yeah. Well, if you're struggling with like feeling salesy, or like you don't believe in the product, like you don't believe in what you're doing right now. Right. So it's like, really that confidence. Like, you should be like, I know you feel like real estate has changed my life. And so I'm going to go and I'm going to talk about it because I know it can change their life. Right.
Yes.
So you need to be able to feel that. If you don't feel that, like you need to do some self-work. Right. You said something too. I was going to bring this up too. I was reading your questionnaire and I asked you, what did I ask you? I said something about like, what's been your victories as being a mom or whatever. And you were like, I feel like I'm kicking ass as a mom. And you're like, and I feel like not enough women like admit that. And it's so true. It's like, okay, we like beat ourselves up and like, oh my gosh, I don't want to feel salesy, or gosh, I'm doing such a bad job as being a mom. Like, are you actually, or are you just like talking shit to yourself all the time, right?
Yeah.
So I love that you said that. And I feel like it ties in perfectly with how you're showing up as a new agent. Like, you believe in yourself. You believe you're a good mom. You believe you're a good wife. You believe that you're a good agent. And so, yeah, I like that.
I think, like, I have the belief, like, when I became a mom, I just decided that I was going to believe that my son, like, people can put this out in whatever frame makes sense, like God or the universe or your child, whatever, spirit babies, like, that my child is supposed to be my child. So he needs to see me as a fully expressed version of me, which means I am not wired to want to be exclusively home with him. Some people, they are wired for that, and that makes them fully lit up. I tried that for a temporary season, and it's just not for me. I didn't feel like myself, and it wasn't coming from a place of like my worthiness as an external validation. Just like, I have fun building a business, and like I like people, and I like deals, and I like negotiating, like a lot of the stuff that you do in real estate. I just love those things, and I like this version of me. So when I'm leaving to go work on something, like this morning when I said bye and his nanny came, I was like, Mommy's gonna go find like these awesome people that she loves, a cool property in the mountains. Like, you know how we have properties in the mountains? He's 2.5. He doesn't really get it, but I want him to think I'm excited about the work that I'm doing. And like, I'm not like, oh, Mommy has to go to work, like this sucks. It's like, I want him to, I hope he finds something that he's really excited about. And so like, I just think that if my son chose me to be his mom, and this little girl in my belly chose me to be her mom, that means I have to be fully lit up, which means for me, and I'm sure for a lot of women listening into this, that might mean that you want to build something and you want to grow something and you like making money. Maybe you like making a shit ton of money and like that lights you up and you're excited. Well, like that's what your kids need to see, like modeled to them. Yes. So I'm like, I don't get the mom guilt. I just don't feel guilty for like being myself and trusting that that's the example that my son needs to see. Like, I would have been gifted a different vision if that wasn't what it was supposed to be, modeled to him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel like there's so many great reframes for people listening right now. It's so good. Yeah. Okay. So I would love to know, to kind of like bring this to a close, I would love to know if you were going to go start a new business. It could be a new business in real estate, it could be any business, and you had to pick an influencer or actor, who would it be? Or actress?
Oh gosh. I love Mariska Haggerty from Law and Order Special Victims Unit. I feel like she's such a boss. But I would probably pick someone funny. Like right now, the first person that came to my mind, this is like the most random answer, but the first person that came to my mind was Ali Wong, the comedian, because she looks like my OB that I just saw yesterday. But like, I think I would pick someone that just like makes life feel like fun. I just think a lot of us have this narrative of like, it's got to be hard and it's got to be a grind and it's not supposed to be exciting. So I'm going to pick like a funny mom influencer, like someone that's just like, you like read that and you're like relatable. Because the other thing too, Kristen, and I know that you can connect with this, like I'm just so tired of everybody pretending like their shit is all together all the time. It's like we don't know what the hell we're doing. And like I've never been this season of a mom building a business, and none of us have. We've never done this before. We're also still in our 30s or our 40s trying to figure it out, and we don't give ourselves grace. So like somebody that would just be like light and fun, I would make the face of it. Yeah. I can't like think of a person, but
you know who's like coming to mind, and maybe this is just because I was talking about her the other day, but like Kristen Wiig, right? Like she's freaking awesome, and she's hilarious. Like someone like it is business is supposed to be fun, and I feel like it's so true. We can get in this like hustle grind, like I've been there, you guys, where it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm so burnt out and I don't enjoy this. And so you really just like try to build in a way that you're like, I love showing up to this. Like I've told my son, since he was 5, I was like, I get to go make friends every day. Like that's my business. And so I really think we all have that same business. And, just try to do the reframes like Kacia's sharing with us. It is like when you're finding yourself in these like moments where you're like, this sucks. What's the reframe? Like, how can you change and pivot? Because it's a dark hole you can go down.
It's so true. And I just think we just have to figure out how to be on our own team. And it's not that things won't be hard. Like even I had like a real fertility journey to get to the second pregnancy of 2 miscarriages. And I remember just like feeling so low and asking myself like, will I ever feel like myself again? Because I didn't feel like this happy, optimistic version of me that I would identify with. And that was really confusing. So for anyone listening into this, that's like, you're in a really tough season in your business or in your marriage or in your health or in your parenting or whatever. And you're like wondering, like, am I ever going to feel like myself again? Like you will. And you'll feel so much more grateful because of that resistance season. Like, I just like the person that I am now more because I like have let myself also like sit in the lows for a second. Like sometimes we have to sit in the low and be like, this is so shitty, and then reframe it and get the F out because we deserve lives that we're obsessed with, you know?
Well, the lows have the lessons. And so it's finding the joy in the pain. And always, anytime you look back on the lows, you're like, that's why I went through that. Like there's a reason. And so it's like, you'll find out why. I know that's so hard to do when it's hard, but every time I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you for this. Like, but I don't feel like that during it. So, okay. So where can people find you? Like what's your Instagram handle?
If people want to follow me on Instagram, that's the only platform I'm on because I can't do TikTok. I just like I just can't.
Sometimes I'm like, should I? No.
I know. Sometimes I'm like, should I be on LinkedIn? And I'm like, I don't know. So Instagram is the only place you can find me, and I will answer any DMs. It's at Kacia Ghetmiri, Ghetmiri is my last name, and then my podcast is called Empower Her. And it's like a personal development and business podcast. I touch on real estate because that's what I'm doing right now, but it's really more focused on like mindset and personal growth.
Which is what all of you need. Like you are all entrepreneurs. So start thinking like an entrepreneur. And I think that if they listen to this, then they're going to go straight to your podcast and be a big time listener. So I'll make sure to put your podcast in the show notes. And then you guys, I also challenge you to go message her and tell her what you liked about the podcast. Don't be afraid. I think that's a very I love when someone messages me and says I heard you on this podcast. Like, what? Like that's so cool.
Yeah. So, and it's smart too from a business perspective because like, what if I have clients looking in different states and you're in a different state and I don't know about you, you know?
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, it's been so fun having you on, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks.
If you like this episode, make sure to like and to subscribe so that we show up in your feed. And if you want to stay close, make sure to check out the show notes because I have a lot of ways for you to do that.